Hello and welcome back to another video on legends and myths. Today I will be telling you the story of Fafnir, the dwarf who became a dragon. In Norse mythology, Fafnir was the son of the dwarf king Hreidmar and had two brothers, Regin and Otor. All four dwarfs were also sorcerers and able to shapeshift into other creatures. According to the Norse sagas, Hreidmar was a dwarf king who was extremely wealthy and lived in a house made from glittering gold and flashing gems. It was made for him by his son Regin, who was a master smith and craftsman, and guarded for him by his other son Fafnir, who was considered stronger and more aggressive than his other brothers, and therefore best suited for the task. Fafnir's other brother Otter was a master fisherman, and often took on the form of an otter to catch a fish. One day the All-Father Odin, Loki, and Hrungnir were traveling and came across Otter in the form of a beautiful otter. Loki killed the otter with a stone and skinned it for its magnificent pelt. Later that day they arrived at the house of the Dwarf King, and Loki could not resist showing off his prize. Hreidmar, Regin, and Fafnir immediately knew what had happened and seized Loki, demanding that he pay recompense for the life he had taken. Being dwarves, they valued gold and demanded that Loki give them Otter's weight in gold. Loki remembered seeing a great treasure in the same lake that they encountered Otter. In order to gain his ransom, he returned to the lake and peered into its depths. There he saw a mighty hoard or treasure guarded by a giant pike, which was another shape-shifting dwarf by the name of Andvari. In order to save his life from Loki, Andvari agreed to hand over his entire treasure, but begged to be able to hold on to a single magnificent gold ring called Andvaranaut, one of many rings in Norse mythology. Considering the ring being the finest item in the hoard, Loki refused. As a result, Andvari cursed the ring to bring misfortune and destruction to whoever possessed it. Loki took the treasure to Hreidmar and used it to pay his debt. He also handed over the ring to the Dwarven King and warned him of the curse, but the ring had already started to work its magic on Hreidmar, who decided that he would keep the ring for himself. The curse quickly took hold on Hreidmar and his family, which Regin and Fafnir killed their father in order to possess it for themselves. Fafnir in turn decided that he did not want to share the treasure with his brother, so he turned himself into a mighty dragon and drove Regin away from their father's house. He then decided to retain his dragon form in order to guard his treasure day and night. Dragons in Norse mythology are referred to as ormur, which is the same as the English word worm. They were considered beings and symbols of great strength. Nidhogg, the dragon that gnaws on the roots of Yggdrasil, is another well-known dragon in Norse mythology. Just as it was natural for Otter, a fisherman, to take on a form of an otter, it was natural for Fafnir, a dwarf of immense strength and aggression, to take on a form of a dragon. The strength of Fafnir the dragon is reiterated by his association with the Helm of Awe, one of the most potent magical runic symbols used by the Vikings. The symbol was also known as Eggishjalmur, which gave Viking warriors protection, courage, and strength. As well as being a symbol of strength, dragons also represented greed in Norse culture, and it was clearly Fafnir's greed and single-minded desire to possess the treasure of his father for himself that motivated his transformation. As a dragon, he breathed poison onto the land surrounding his father's house, which prevented people from coming near his treasure. Fafnir also wreaked terror in the hearts of any who came near, clearly representing the poisonous effects that greed can have on both the individual and the community. Fafnir was eventually killed by Sigurd, also known as Siegfried, the great hero of the Völsunga saga. Sigurd is described as a foster son, or ward of Regin, who went to live in another kingdom and work as a smith after he was driven from his father's home by Fafnir. Regin, being a great smith, reforges the broken sword of Sigurd's father, allowing him to avenge his father's death. The sword was said to be so strong that Sigurd is able to split an anvil down to its base. It is a payment for this gift that Sigurd agrees to kill Fafnir for Regin, so that Regin himself can claim the cursed ring, which still calls to his heart. Sigurd appears to have enjoyed the patronage of Odin. According to some myths, Sigurd encountered Odin in the forest, where the All-Father gave him the horse Grani. That was the child of Odin's own steed Sleipnir. Later, Odin also appears to give Sigurd advice in his quest to kill Fafnir. In order to kill the dragon, Sigurd sneaks into Fafnir's territory and digs a hole near the lake where the dragon drinks. His plan was to hide in the hole and stab the dragon in the belly. While Sigurd is preparing, Odin appears and advises him to dig several holes to give Fafnir's blood a place to drain. When Fafnir arrives, breathing poison into the surrounding air, Sigurd succeeds in mortally wounding the dragon. As Fafnir bleeds out, he warns Sigurd that Regin, the treasure of their father, and especially the ring, will be Sigurd's own downfall. Regin, waiting nearby for Sigurd to complete his task, arrives and drinks some of Fafnir's blood in order to gain some of his strength. He also asks Sigurd to cook Fafnir's heart for him to eat. Sigurd, while cooking the heart, touches it to see if it is ready, and then licks his finger, which seems to give him the ability to understand the speech of birds. This allows Sigurd to converse with Odin's two ravens, whose names were Hugin and Munin, that warn him of Regin's own plans to kill Sigurd and keep all the treasure for himself. According to the Norse myth, Sigurd then kills Regin, eats some of the heart, and takes as much treasure as he can, including the ring, and leaves, taking the curse on to his own family. The story of Fafnir was told as a warning for the Norsemen against the chaotic and destructive powers of greed, and the dangerous way that it can spread from father to son and throughout communities. It is a reminder that wealth is not to be hoarded, but rather used to form strong alliances and build communities in which everyone can prosper and support one another. This was the basis of Norse culture. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you would like me to cover more Norse myths and also other mythology stories from different ancient pantheons. Take care, and I'll see you in the next myth.